this is the on, the major on-off button. The brake is currently released, so the brake needs to be on, or else the machine won't start. This is the on-off button that you're supposed to use, normal use. You only turn this off at night. So,
that's familiar to me.
what, that it didn't turn on?
Yeah.
You had the brake.
Is that it?
Yeah, the brake's on or off, whatever the bad one is.
There's this switch back here that if you use it to shut off the machine.
Oh yeah, that's a safety switch. So if something goes wrong and you're over here, you can shut it off. You need to release that in order for it to work.
Was it released?
I think so.
Okay.
It wasn't before.
Oh, it wasn't? Just a second ago? Oh. Yeah, the brake needs to be on.
Maybe that was it.
So, I'd probably turn this off to explain these.
Yep.
This controls the feed speed at which the feed rollers are moving, and you can go 4, 6, or 12. Obviously 12 is the fastest. You can change this while it's running. You don't have to stop it. Even in the middle of a cut, you can change it. And this is for controlling the raising and lowering of the table. And the top number is the actual number. The bottom number is the number you're desiring or inputting. So you clear it. Right now it's just a little less than a 1/4 inch. Clear it, and you select. You always put a 4-digit number. Let's say you want 2 inches. You clear. You type in 2000 for the decimal points start, and it drops down. What it does is it drops past, and it comes back up, so the backlash in the screws is always supporting the table.
And you want people to take how much off at a time? What's the max number?
I would say the max would be a 1/10 of an inch, 100 thousandths. But if you're doing a very wide piece of hard maple, it would be much less than that,
right?
For example. So the one tricky thing with this control, which I've never been able to fix and Ed can't fix, is if you are requesting a very slight change,
you can't do it.
It won't do it. So if you want to go clear 1990 for whatever reason, unable to do that.
Well, the up and down arrows. This is what I believe is supposed to be able to dial in, but it's not working very well. All right?
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to use one day.
What I like to do is just go down a little bit and then enter what you want. Because as long as you're asking it to move any length of distance, it's, I don't know, maybe greater than a 1/4 inch, it does it.
That's a good workaround.
So, yeah, you're kind of able to use it without a problem. I mean, like a typical situation might be you're milling a bunch of wood, and if for the majority of the time you can just be pushing it up by increments. With that'll work. But once it gets to be the end, you want to dial it in very accurately. Then each step you have to drop it down a tiny bit and then request your new number. The other thing that we should all know about this machine is it loses its calibration for some reason fairly rapidly. So
you push the calibration setting button.
You push the calibration setting button, but the way that works is this. Let's like do. I'll have to mill something. Does everyone know how calipers work? Has an on-off button. Right now it's set for metric. Push the metric inch button, then it's set for inches. This can measure the inside of something, this measures the outside. So basically, I'm going to say, where am I? I'm at 1737. I'm going to go clear 1700, start. I'm going to mill this again. I'll have to explain this later.
What's that?
This lowers the roller in the table. Everyone know about that? I'll explain that in a second. What you want to do, so I'm getting 1722. Let's see. 1719. 1718. 1722 again. You want to measure that? I would say measure it in 2 or 3 places, take the average, and then you enter that as a request, clear 1720, calibrate, and it changes the actual number to read what you put in. So now it's recalibrated. And I guess there's a couple of ways to look at it. I tend to go off, for most of what I do, I tend to use my tape measure, and I measure the board. And for the majority of my work, that's accurate. That's accurate enough.
Right.
But it's a good idea to calibrate this machine. I mean, I think maybe it should just be part of the rotation. What's the
I'd make it a step, because you don't know yet how often it's happening, how often it's getting out. So just
So that was 20 thousandths. That's like a little bit more than a 64th. That's considerable amount off.
Yeah. Right.
Right. That's why we should always use this. I'm going to keep this
in the
cart. I just bought this for that reason. I mean, I'm sure there's 5,000 better calipers than this, but I think the important thing is if we consistently use the same one.
Right.
This is supposedly plus or minus a thousandth, so I think that's accurate.
Okay.
Did everyone get that? This was probably just pulled up because it was helping us with our feed issue, with the feed nut happening as good as it should. So, but what that does is that's going to make this a little bit inaccurate also, because if the roller's sticking up 20 thousandths past the bed, you're sticking your board up, that much, or depending on exactly where it is in relation to the cutter head. I think it's right under the cutter head.
So you reset it now?
So, I mean, this is something that you can also change. The user can change this as needed. For rough boards, if let's say you're not joining a board, it's rare in a cabinet shop you would do that, but if you had some studs you needed to make thinner, you didn't really care if they were curved for some reason, you would put that up way up, generally, I mean, as long as the feed rollers are working, I like to keep this down. It stops. There's a stop, so you know it's all the way down there. And you know, if you want to get a good view of it, you can drop this machine, this table all the way down. And you can put a straight edge over this roller.
Yeah.
Raise it. And see when the straight edge starts, you know, shifting up. And you can get a good feel for how high or low it is.